Arsenal are going to Budapest. Arsenal beat Atletico Madrid 1-0 at the Emirates, 2-1 on aggregate, and they are in the Champions League final for the first time since 2006. 2006. That's interesting. Bayern Munich drew 1-1 with PSG at the Allianz Arena. For me personally, that was a surprising result. Nevertheless, PSG go through 6-5 on aggregate. The final is set. Arsenal versus PSG, Budapest, May 30th. In the Premier League, Arsenal beat West Ham on Sunday in what I considered a nail-biter. That was a heck of a game. City won 3-0 on Wednesday against Crystal Palace. They are now 2 points behind Arsenal. 2 games each to go. The title race is alive. This is Disputed Episode 6. Let's go. Arsenal, the Emirates, Tuesday night. Atletico Madrid. That was on May 5. Everything was on the line for Arsenal. The tie was level 1-1 on aggregate when they played at Atletico Madrid. Any draw would have taken it to extra time and penalties. Arsenal needed to win, and they won 1-0, making the aggregate 2-1. Arsenal are in the Champions League final for the first time in 20 years, since 2006. Gee, where were you when that final whistle went?
I was on the floor. I was on my feet. I was screaming. I do not even know what I was saying, but I knew I was screaming. My emotions of 20 years of not being back to this point, oh my God, it just overwhelmed me. At some point, I didn't even know how to feel. You know, all these years watching the Champions League finals, with different teams without Arsenal being in it, it was finally over. It's I don't even know. It was just an undescribable feeling. At some point, I just went mute. I was just staring. I didn't know what to do. But obviously, looking at the people at the Emirates, I wish I were there. The Emirates on that day was shaking on that Tuesday night. I've never heard noise like that in my life. I could just feel it, watching on the telly, wishing I was there to soak it all in.
Interesting. I know I saw your reaction because I think I came in right about when the whistle blew, and I saw how excited you were. So that was a good thing. Let's talk about the game a little bit. The goal came just before halftime, 44th minute. Gyökeres, your guy, started the move with a brilliant run. Trossard got the shot away. Oblak pushed it out, and Saka was fastest to react and slotted home the rebound from 4 yards to Bukayo Saka, who I know you guys missed for most part of the season due to injuries. Emirates exploded, and you guys defended with everything you had in the second half. Gabriel made the last-ditch tackle on Giuliano Simeone.
Yes.
Raya saved brilliantly from Griezmann. Simeone threw on every attacker he had. But you guys head up. What does this mean for Saka personally after everything he has been through?
Bukayo Saka. Oh my goodness. He had to be Saka. He had to be Bukayo. In the biggest game of his life. Like you rightly said, with all the injuries, he came at the perfect time, at the Emirates, sending Arsenal fans to the Champions League finals. You could not have written that. I was already emotional before that goal. And when he went through, I just completely lost it. It was only natural that it would be him. He's been through so much in his short career, for all the lows with Arsenal, even England, the penalty, the Euro penalty miss. And now this, ha, this is almost like his final redemption, you know, his moment, his very, very own moment. Bukayo Saka sent Arsenal to the Champions League final in Budapest. It just had to be him, star boy.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the scenes after the final whistle. Ateta punching the hair on the touchline, joining his players on the pitch. The Emirates was an absolute red. It's like sea of red. Like everywhere was just red. As I say, redded up. Everything was redded up. And then when Rooney, who people are calling the celebration police, he mentioned that your celebration was too much. That you haven't won anything yet. And Ateta, who called him that name, celebration police, he told him exactly where to go. Was the reaction too much, in your opinion?
Too much? Too much? Are you serious? 20 years of hurt and near misses at Arsenal? And for them to finally reach a Champions League final. And Rooney says, calm down. No, absolutely not. Why would you calm down? People didn't say that, they didn't say the same thing last year. I remember when PSG beat us in the semi-finals to make the finals. The celebrations were wild. They were electric. But nobody told them to relax. Nobody said, oh, don't celebrate. You're celebrating too much. You celebrate every single second of that. Ateta rightfully came out. He was even doing the wedding dance. What it was, the Emirates was in raptures. And, Ateta said he was right to say what he said to the celebration police. They always come out. The only time they come out is when Arsenal are celebrating for one reason or the other. The celebration police can sit down, at this point. Arsenal is going to Budapest. That's all we know.
Okay. Arsenal in the final. Drop in the comments. Where were you when the final whistle went on Tuesday, May 5th? And do you agree with Rooney? Or do you think Arsenal deserved every second of the celebrations? We want to hear it all. Drop in the comments. Let's talk about this. We want to hear from you all. Let's talk about what happened in Bayern. Bayern Munich won, PSG won at the Allianz Arena on May 6th. That was a surprising result. Bayern needed 2 goals to go through. PSG scored in the 3rd minute. Dembele swept it in after a brilliant Kvaratskhelia assist. Kvaratskhelia, that guy, I don't know what to say about that guy. He's been brilliant so far in the tournament. Bayern dominated most possession for most of the game, but couldn't break PSG down. Kane scored in stoppage time to make it 1-1. His 56th goal across all competition this season. But it was too late. PSG go through 6-5 at Hungary. 2 legs, 11 goals. PSG, the reigning European champions, they are in the final again. Since Real Madrid, we haven't had a back-to-back, champion in a while. Bayern gave everything. Kane scored in 7 straight Champions League games, but PSG head on. Is PSG the best team in Europe right now?
Well, PSG are brilliant, don't get me wrong. I will not take away anything from them. Kvaratskhelia is unplayable right now. You've got Due, you've got Dembele, all the attacking stars that you can, put together. They're all on that PSG team. But then, are they the best team in Europe? Well, this same PSG, they had to go through the playoffs to get to the finals. People forget that. Arsenal are the only unbeaten team in the entire Champions League campaign this season, with 10 wins, 3 draws, 0 defeats. PSG, they've been brilliant, but they've had some scares, Arsenal have been relentless, especially in the Champions League. PSG conceded 5 goals in that particular round against Bayern. If they do that against Arsenal, even to concede just 2 goals, Arsenal against Arsenal, they'll be in trouble. That will be close shop completely for them. Give Arsenal two of those goals, and you're done. I tell you that.
Okay. And then we're gonna talk about the finals later, but it's great to kind of get your early reaction to that. Now, I want to talk about my guy Harry Kane. This is brutal. He came so close. Bayern were 1 goal away from turning the tie completely, but PSG were ruthless on the counter, and the 1-1 was not enough. Kane has now gone another season without the Champions League final. Does Kane's time come, or does he retire without winning it? What do you think?
You know, that is the cruel part of football. Kane actually scored 55 goals across all competitions this season. 55. And he has gone home early enough. He didn't get to the final. Generally, I feel sorry for him, and I feel very bad, for him. But not on May 30th. On May 30th, I only care about Arsenal. This follows the saying that attack wins you games, but defense wins you titles. Conceding 6 goals in a game, I don't think anyone would expect you to win it.
Okay, that's interesting. To be honest, that was cruel. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about our friends in Spain. Now, while all the Champions League drama was unfolding, the rest of football did not stop. Barcelona, which I consider my second team in Europe, they won La Liga this past Sunday. Man City also beat Crystal Palace 3-0, right? So now everything's kind of unfolding. We talk about Man City is now 2 points clear to 2 points behind Arsenal.
Close.
And then and also Premier League, the relegation battle is down to 1 spot. Let's talk about all of this right now. El Clasico first. El Clasico May 10th. Barcelona, they won La Liga. They won the title. If I think back to the past El Clasico that we've all watched, I felt it was very competitive back in those days, and things have changed lately. But that's something we can talk about maybe later. Barcelona, Camp Nou, El Clasico, Sunday, May 10th. They needed a draw against Real Madrid to be crowned La Liga champions for the second season in a row. What happened? They won 2-0. Back-to-back La Liga titles. But the story is so much bigger than the football. Hours before the kickoff, Barcelona confirmed that the manager Hansi Flick's father had passed away. God rest his dad soul. I think that was a tough one. Hearing that your dad passed away just before a game, so that was really tough. And our heart goes to Hansi and his family. May God rest his dad's soul. And the whole football world sent their condolences. And then Flick's team went out and won the title for him. Think about that. You just look at that. Your team was playing, all the emotions, the highs, the lows, and your team delivered. I felt that was huge. How do you even process a thing like that? Just think about it. Someone just lost their dad, and they have to take their team to what is considered a very important game for them to kind of to win the league. Like, what do you think? Like, how do you process that? G.
Wow. I think that is one of the most emotional stories, in the sporting world, that I've heard. His father passing away hours just before the biggest game of the season, and he still had to stand on the touchline and instruct his team and push them to win the league. Football is extraordinary sometimes. You cannot script that. Whatever you think of Barcelona, and I do not think much about Barcelona, especially since after 2006, you have to respect that Hansi Flick has built something there. It's incredible character, really.
Mm. Yeah, again, Hansi Flick, Sport Talk, we send our condolences to you and your family during this difficult time. Now, let's talk about Real Madrid. They turn up in complete chaos. Mbappe was ruled out with a hamstring injury, the league's top scorer with 24 goals, not even in the squad. And last week, Valverde and Tuchemeni, they had a violent fight at training. I think you talked about that during one of our sport discussions about what happened. Valverde reportedly needed stitches. From what we heard. Madrid arrived broken. Barcelona were flying. 30 wins now in La Liga this season, 91 points, 11 points clear going in. And Ferran Torres scored. 3 games left for Barca right now. 9 points available. If they win all three, they hit 100 points. The all-time La Liga record. Look at that. Think about that. All-time La Liga record. This is the same La Liga that's had the likes of CR7, Ronaldo, that's had Ronaldinho, that's had Deco, Samuel Eto'o, Raul Gonzalez. So think about it. This could be 100 points, the record in La Liga. Do you think Barcelona can challenge for the treble next season?
They're already chasing 100 points this season, the all-time La Liga record, like you said. They've got Lamine Yamal was injured. Rafinha was just returning. Flick is building something special in that team. But here's the thing. PSG are in the Champions League final. Arsenal are in the Champions League final. Barcelona are watching from home. The best team in Spain right now is not in Budapest. Make of that what you will. So I'm not even interested.
So you felt you had to throw that in. Okay, I'll take it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal is the top of the world right now. Hopefully, you guys finish it all, but we'll see how that goes. Barcelona are La Liga champions, back to back. Drop a congratulations or take in the comment. Is Hansi Flick's Barcelona the best team in Europe right now? Or, as G mentioned, if they are the best team, why are they not in Budapest? Okay? Want to hear from you. Now, let's talk about Premier League relegation. One spot open. We got Wolves and Burnley already confirmed. They are going down. No debate. Nothing to do about it. No. To Wolves and Burnley fans that may be watching this episode, Sport Talk, we're kind of sending our sorry your way, hoping you come back the following season. But as we've seen, when you go down sometime, look at the QPR, it may be a long, long time. So we see how that plays out for those two teams. The final relegation spot is a straight fight between West Ham and Tottenham. West Ham are 7 points behind safety with only 6 points left to play for. The math is brutal. West Ham are effectively down. Tottenham drew 1-1 with Leeds on Monday, a point, but not the win the Zerbi wanted. Spurs are still on 38 points with 2 games left. They got Chelsea on May 19th. They got Everton on the final day. Is West Ham already relegated? Or does things change and Spurs take the spot? What do you think?
Well, it's so sad, for West Ham. 7 points from safety and 6 points to play for. They need to win both of their remaining games, and they need Tottenham to lose both. Opta has actually given West Ham over 80% chance of going down, sadly. I do not see how they survive this relegation. But the more interesting story right now is Tottenham. Roberto De Zerbi, came in and kind of steadied the ship. But that 1-1 draw with Leeds on Monday was a very frustrating result for them. They even almost lost the game very late on, but for their standing keeper, stopping the shots. Spurs needed all 3 points that day. They got one. Chelsea and Everton still to come for them. One bad result and the panic, floods back again.
If they lose their next game, people start having ideas. But so how sports stories change from week to week. So we'll see what happens this match, upcoming match week. The stats around sports this season are extraordinary. They had a 15-game winless run in the league. 15 games winless. That's not good. 6 points from their last 45 available before the Zerbi arrived. This is a club that was in the Champions League final in 2019. Think about it. They were in the Champions League final in 2019. Now they are fighting to stay in the Premier League. They are your close neighbors. How did things get this bad for Tottenham?
Tottenham will Tottenham. That is the story of the Tottenham. That was a quote um, by Chiellini, Italian defender. So my thing with Tottenham, or what has been happening with them, is they've got a series of terrible managerial appointments. It started with Mourinho, who came after Pochettino. They've got so many injuries. Why, I don't know. They have no identity. They have no plan. And honestly, there's one big giant reason, I think, as coming from an Arsenal fan, karma. Tottenham fans will know what I mean by that. But I do not want them relegated. It is bad for the league, really, especially for Arsenal's annual 6 points. I want them to stay up so that, because we have to now start thinking of who to get our annual 6 points from. I want De Zerbi to save them and then build something, really, because you still want Tottenham. They've got a big stadium. That stadium in the Championship, well, I don't even know how they're going to, because it will be very hard for them to come back. But they need to win on Tuesday against Chelsea. That's the first thing. And the strange things is that Tottenham, I can't even remember the last time they've won at Stamford Bridge.
Okay. Tottenham drew 1-1 with Leeds on Monday. A point when they needed 3. They only got 1. Chelsea on Tuesday next week is going to be massive. Drop your prediction. Do Spurs stay up? And do West Ham go down? Comment right now. I want to hear from you. Let's kind of look at the title race, which, as we said earlier, is very close. City getting that 3 points against Crystal Palace with 3 goals. That means they have a solid, their goal difference is now, I think it's probably 1 or 2 over Arsenal. Is it 1 or 2 right now?
1.
1 over Arsenal. Clinical, Haaland scored again. The gap is 2 points. 2 games left each. Arsenal play Burnley on Monday, on the 18th. City play Bournemouth on Tuesday, May 19th. Then both clubs play on the final day, Sunday, May 24th, which is one of the days I enjoy most in Premier League, especially when there are things to play for. I still recollect, I think many years ago when City won the championship and it was between Manchester United and Manchester City. As a Man U fan, I was heartbroken.
Aguero.
I know that was like, I know, and they showed Alex Ferguson. We're kind of we're waiting. We're like we thought we had it, and then Aguero scored that goal, and that messed everything up. So honestly, I want City to feel our pain this time around. Yeah, but if Arsenal wins their 2 games, again, it doesn't matter. Right now, they're already thinking they've lost it. So Arsenal play away at Crystal Palace on the last day of the season. City at home to Aston Villa. Do you think this title race is just getting started or getting crazier with 2 games to go? What do you think?
Well, City winning 3-0 on Wednesday, it kind of hurts. I will not pretend otherwise, but you just have to look at who the 2 games that Arsenal has to play. They have to play Burnley who are bottom of the league right now, and they're already relegated. If we play anywhere near how we've played in the last few games, then we should be in a good spot. Monday will be a very wild and electric game at the Emirates Stadium. That one is for sure. Arsenal are 88%. They have an 88% chance to win that game on Monday. Win on Monday, and we go 82 points. City then has to travel to Bournemouth, and they absolutely have to beat Bournemouth. And even after beating Bournemouth, they now have to hope that Arsenal slips up against Palace on the final day for City to overtake us. That requires a lot to go wrong. I'm nervous, but I still stand behind my team.
I'm going to talk about a scenario that keeps Arsenal fans up at night. Arsenal draw Burnley on Monday. City beat Bournemouth on Tuesday. Final day, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. City versus Aston Villa. City need to win, and Arsenal need to draw points. That is the only way City can win the title. Arsenal's destiny is in their own heads. G, what is your Burnley prediction?
The way I see it, we have to start really fast. We have to play exactly the way we played against Fulham. And Fulham in this case is even a better team than Burnley. But the Premiership is a very funny place. And people have been pushing Burnley to make them try to, put like throw some to just spoil the party, so to speak. But I'm looking at Arsenal, at least for me, 3-0. I'm hoping, because that was what we thought City was going to do to this same Burnley, but they only won by the skin of their teeth. They only beat them by 1. But I'm looking for a Gyökeres hat-trick, title done on Monday night, because that is what I'm going with, and I'm not changing it. I'm just hoping, we dismantle them so that even you have to send some kind of message to City who is going to play the next day. Arsenal has to take care of their own business, really, in my opinion. Whatever City does is City's business. 2 games to go, win both, and the title finally comes back to North London. The floodgates opens up for further titles in the very near future. Okay. For real.
Arsenal fans
that's the only thing that's been holding us back. For real.
Arsenal fans are already thinking about the future. That's interesting. Oh. Yeah. I love your. I think I love your as a fan. I really admire your love for Arsenal. To be honest, like I think you're one of the true fans that I've really seen. To be honest, and I'm proud to know you. To be honest, like you are a true fan. So thank you. Yeah, you're very loyal. So I love that.
Thank you.
Arsenal versus Burnley, Monday, May 18th. Drop your score prediction in the comments right now. And who wins the Premier League title? Arsenal or City? We want to hear from you. We want everything. Let's kind of just spend maybe a few minutes to talk about. I want to understand how you felt on Sunday, because I watched the game alongside you, and there was a time when West Ham had the opportunities to go ahead 1-0, and then Raya, that was brilliant. He saved. He made a great save, in my opinion. Fast forward, you guys had this goal, trust that. And what a great goal. And then you were hoping that everything was over. And then the equalizer. And for you kind of, I think the TV was lagging by a few seconds, and you said on your phone, and you were almost like, when you had your hands on your head, like, oh my God, not again. And I was like, what happened? And the VAR, goal was disallowed, and you were able to breathe again. I don't know. Just tell me a little bit, like that moment. Can you just tell me how I want to hear how you felt, because you, like, the way you reacted was something else. Like, I wish I had a picture of that to show everybody. Like, I wish I had a video. I missed that moment, but that was something that it was just unbelievable. So Tell me, what were you thinking when you thought it was a draw, like
Ah,
maybe
no,
equalized?
remember, yes, Sunday was Mother's Day, right? And we were watching the game. Everything was going our way until, of course, Ben White's injury. And Ben White's injury, kind of changed the whole thing. And something really no one has talked about. I don't know. I just kind of thought about it. Um, the the left winger for Somerville, for some strange reasons, is taking two Arsenal players out so far. The first leg when we faced them at the Emirates, it was in the scene of the crime with Odegaard going off injured. This past Sunday again, it was also at the scene of the crime with Ben White going injured. I don't know if that was a deliberate thing, but I was thinking about that for a minute. But back to what my reaction and everything that happened on Sunday. I can I can tell you now, obviously it's funny now, but on that day, my heart literally stopped.
On
My heart
Mother's
stopped.
Day.
You saw the way I was. First, it was Mother's Day. Two, I didn't even want to eat. Remember, you guys took me out, for brunch, and I was like, no, because my heart was just on this game. I have a very bad habit that I'm trying to stop of always watching a game. But anytime like I feel like the game is going a certain way, especially maybe getting away from Arsenal, I would usually pick up my phone to see if something happened, if there was a score. My streaming for whatever reason always lags, you know, and it's usually delays for about one minute or so. When I saw that West Ham was, like running towards the Arsenal goal, I kind of felt something in me. I'm like, it's seeming like this was after a goal, right? That I think it was a kick from. I wasn't even looking up again. I thought it was like a kick from their keeper, and all of a sudden, my instincts just kicked in. I just picked up my phone, and I was looking at my phone to see if something happened before I looked up again. Immediately, I picked up my phone. The next thing I saw was 1-1. I cannot tell you what I was mothering on that day. I was just mothering. I was like looking at my one football app, and I saw 1-1. I was screaming, "They've scored! They've scored! They've scored!" It's just like I was like in hysterics and all. And I could not even. I could not. And before the goal even came up on the telly, it took about maybe another 2 minutes. I'd already seen the score, and then they were still playing, like normal. You guys, the family didn't even know what was going on, but everyone was looking at me because I was already like, oh, they scored, and everything. Until then the goal happened. I saw how the goal happened and everything, and for the first time, and everyone was kind of consoling me. It's okay, maybe. I was like, why us now? Why? We've come this far. Why? I was just like, my head was gone. The very first time since VAR came that I would say VAR saved football. VAR actually saved football that day, because that particular result affected four different teams: Arsenal, City, West Ham, and Tottenham. It's funny that even the Tottenham fans, I don't understand those lots. They wanted West Ham to beat Arsenal. And I don't understand how that would have helped them when we were trying to help them keep them in the league. But they were the most vocal about the fact that the VAR controversy, or the VAR call, was reversed. Thank God, when the goal went in, I was like, oh my God. But I noticed that Teta was touching his hand, and then the players were all jumping and saying, I thought, oh, handball. I didn't see any handball. What was going on? And thankfully, the referee was called. The referee was called to the VAR booth to look at to take a look at the goal. And they were looking at that goal for like 5 minutes. I think they were trying their hardest to give that goal, but it was just too obvious. Somebody was holding Raya's neck, another person was pulling his shirt, someone else was trying. It was a whole lot of stuff. Even though there were a lot of other things going on around, but the Raya's thing was the most because he had leapt up and he had caught the ball. So had his shirt not been pulled, he would easily have caught the ball. So I'm so thankful for the very first time to VAR because that call really was a title decider. Draw that game with City winning 3-0. You know that right now the pressure would have been back on Arsenal and then things would have been just all over the place. So it's in all of this, it's even the Tottenham fans that are, I'm just like, what? We beat West Ham. It helps you, you know. Right now, at this very point, I don't care how we play, whether it's beautiful, whether just win the game. Remember before the game, I told you, I just need a 1-0, 1-0, 1-0 three times. And let's just win. I don't need you to rack up any goals. Just win I just need 3 points. Arsenal showed a lot of character in that game because a lot happened. And they actually did what champions do.
Yeah, well, awesome. And sometimes in life you need luck, and we
Oh,
see how that goes. So there's something happening this weekend that I think we should talk about, which is the FA Cup. Let's do a preview of FA Cup final right now. Tomorrow, May 16th at the Wembley, Chelsea Man City FA Cup. Let's talk about that a little bit and make our predictions. Chelsea Man City, 3 p.m. This game has everything. City have already won the EFL Cup this season. When on Saturday, they complete the domestic cup double. Chelsea are looking for their first FA Cup since beating Manchester United 1-0 back in 2018. 2018, that was the last time Chelsea won the FA Cup. On paper, who wins the FA Cup on Saturday?
sadly, I have to say City. And I hate that, I have to say that. But the stats are all there. The stats for Chelsea is so damning. City have not lost any of their last 13 games against Chelsea. Just think about that. 10 wins and 3 draws, no losses. Chelsea beat them. The very last time Chelsea beat City was in 2021 Champions League final. We're talking what? 5 years ago, right? 2021 Champions League final. And the guy that scored the winning goal now plays for Arsenal. So they don't even have that over City. And Chelsea have failed to score in their last 4 Wembley finals. Crazy stats. 4. 4. How do you build confidence from that? City are the better team right now. But cup finals are different. You never know what can happen. Anything happens. Anything can happen on the day. But on paper and, regarding, form going into that game, I think everything, tends towards City.
Okay. The storylines are extraordinary. This is City's 4th consecutive FA Cup final. 4th. No team in history has ever done that before. City is doing some things that are just like first time. They're kind of right in history, and I'll give to City. For the past 10 years, they've been very dominant in the Premier League, and I give it to them. They won in 2023. They lost to Man U in 2024. Manchester United. We battle a little bit. I know lately it hasn't been good for Man U. They lost to Crystal Palace in 2025. They'll be desperate to win this one. And here's a stat that stands out. Chelsea have scored just 7 goals across their last 8 matches at Wembley. 7 goals in 8 matches at Wembley. They shut up shop at National Stadium. Meanwhile, City beat Exeter 10-1 in the 3rd round. 10-1. That was ruthless. The Haaland got a hat trick against Liverpool in the finals. City have been ruthless all the way through. G, does the fact that this is the same week as the title race, do you think that affects City mentally? Because they got 2 games coming up next week. So they got to play the FA Cup tomorrow. On Tuesday, they got Bournemouth. Do you think that affects them mentally, or you think it's about facing what you got first and worry about title later? Or title is over. They don't even care.
No, that is the one question that people are not really talking about enough. City play the FA Cup final on Saturday. Then they have Bournemouth on Tuesday. And then they've got Aston Villa on the final day of the season. They need to win all 3 games. And Arsenal play Burnley on Monday, 2 days after the FA Cup final. If City are emotionally and physically drained from Wembley, does that affect Tuesday at Bournemouth? We don't know, but I think it does. I think Arsenal will win the title because City have too much on their plates this week. Bournemouth also, they have something riding on this game. It's not like as if they Bournemouth wants to go to Europe, you know, with this game. So they are looking to make the Champions League. It's so funny. There's so many storylines here. This is going to be Bournemouth's last home game of the season. Ariola's last home game as Bournemouth's coach, and also throw in the fact that Semenyo is coming back to the stadium. It makes this game an even more entertaining one. So for me, I know they've got a big squad, but emotionally, should they not win the game against Chelsea, you never know what could happen.
But again, as we mentioned earlier, I don't think Arsenal should worry. You got 2 games. When you have 2 games, well, the title is over. Race is over. Let's talk about the players to watch. The person that just keeps coming to mind, like the main person for City for me, is Doku. Take out Doku, City will be out of the league race, title race by now. Like, we won't have it by now. The tie against Everton, that was Doku. When they play against, before they broke down, Brentford, that was all Doku. He was the guy. So Doku is the danger man for City right now. And he has the most goal involvement in the FA Cup over the last 2 seasons. I was looking at the stats. I was like, really? I didn't even know that. No, he has the last two seasons been the most goal involvement, 3 goals, 5 assists. 5 assists. And for Chelsea, Enzo Fernandez scored the only goal to beat Leeds in the semi-final. Pedro Neto has been electric in the cup this season. And Estiva, the Brazilian teenager, has been a revelation. Gee, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. I need your FA Cup final score prediction live right now. What do you have? Tell me.
My head says something different, and my heart says a different thing. Honestly, I'm so happy that Doku did not come off the way he's playing right now about 6 weeks. I am so glad that he only woke up towards the end of the season because it's been so unplayable. I don't know what he did, in the last month or so. I think from April, it just took off. But you asked about the score. I'm hoping that Chelsea wins 1-0. Enzo Fernandez scoring a screamer to win the game 1-0. I'm going against the stats and I'm going against the odds. Chelsea will shock City on Saturday, and then City are broken going into the Bournemouth game on Tuesday. Then Arsenal wins the league without even kicking the ball. I will be wrong about the FA Cup, but I don't care.
My prediction? This is a tough one for me. It's tough in terms of I don't trust Chelsea. I'm sorry. I don't trust them at all. I don't know. Can they even score a goal? I don't know. I'm going to go with 3-1. 3-1. I hope they score one goal. But I'm going to go 3-1. I'm looking at Doku, Highland, maybe Semeyo get the goals. But I'm looking at 3-1. So Chelsea versus Man City, FA Cup final, Wembley, Saturday, May 16th at 3 p.m. Drop your score prediction in the comments right now. And who leads the FA Cup? Chelsea or City? Okay. So that's going to wrap things up. Arsenal in the Champions League final, 2 points clear in the Premier League with 2 games to play. Barcelona at La Liga champions. And this Saturday in Wembley, we see what happens in the FA Cup. Gloria, any final words before we wrap things up?
Oh, well, Arsenal in the Champions League final, like you said, and we're 2 points clear in the Premier League with 2 games to play. So I'm just waiting for the celebration, really, because we only have one job. Win your 2 games and don't care about what is happening with City. Because if you win your 2 games, the title is wrapped and it will have a red ribbon. So that is all I'm waiting for. And then, of course, the FA Cup will be absolutely peak, tomorrow. I guess I'll have to say, see you for all the reaction episodes.
Okay.
And leave your comments. We need your comments. We need to hear from you and subscribe.
Arsenal beats Atletico Madrid 1-0, 2-1 on aggregate. Champions League final for the first time since 2006. PSG are through 6-5 on aggregate. Arsenal versus PSG, Budapest, May 30th. Barcelona beat Real Madrid 2-0 on Sunday. Back-to-back La Liga champions. In the Premier League, Arsenal, 79 points. City, 77 points. After they won 3-0 on Wednesday against Crystal Palace. 2 points between them with 2 games each to play. FA Cup final tomorrow, Saturday, Chelsea versus City at Wembley, 3 p.m. Arsenal versus Burnley on Monday. City versus Bournemouth on Tuesday. Chelsea versus Spurs on Tuesday. So we have a lot to play for this week. Now, the biggest week in English football. This last 2 weeks is going to be very interesting. Subscribe so you don't miss a single reaction episode. Drop your predictions in the comments. This is Disputed on SportsTalk Media HQ. See you next time.
See you.